Happy Earth Day. And on the Earth Day special, I have Binish Desai, innovator, social entrepreneur. He works on industrial waste recycling and management. Good to see you, and it's an important day for you too, because this is, what you stand for. Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day to you and all the listeners out here.
You know something? The fact that you're called the recycle man of India, I don't think you would have imagined that when you were starting as a young kid, being fascinated by what you can do with waste. How did this absorption or how did this fascination with recycling start? How early?
I was 10 and my favorite cartoon used to be Captain Planet. You all will be aware Captain Planet, he's a hero, gonna take pollution down to zero. The tagline directly hit me. And that being my favorite cartoon also was Dexter's Laboratory. So, always wanted to have my own lab. And that's how the journey started with observation. So my first invention was at the age of 10 when I was observing my mom cooking, and I created this machine which would convert the water vapor into water for gardening. So that was my first invention. Very few people who have not read the book would not be aware, but so that was my first invention. And then the second one was obviously the brick at the age of 11 when a chewing gum got stuck on my pants and I tried removing a piece of paper. So it had hardened up. I went back home, did the same experiment again, and that resulted in my first brick. And I've been working with waste ever since then.
Yeah, I mean, you've recycled more than 2,000 tons of industrial waste. And, during the pandemic, you've kept yourself busier than ever before. Talk about Brick 2.0, Binish.
So, Brick 2.0 is an updated version of the Brick 1, which, as I said, invented at the age of 11. Brick 2.0 consists of 52% of sanitized PPE, which was previously used and then discarded. We collected it, and after post shredding, we converted it into brick. So it's mixed with the paper mill waste, which we have been using in Brick 1, and the special binder. And that's three times stronger than the conventional brick, and it's twice the size, and yet the price is 2.8 rupees.
You have a belief, which is now quite a famous quote, about nothing being useless in this world. I leave you to complete that quote because it's a very important lesson for everybody who's listening on Earth Day.
I always say there's nothing useless in this world. What can be a waste to you is someone else's asset. And for us to, in India, I always add this as well with the new Atmanirbhar India now. I always say that for us, I see India as a leading solution provider of zero waste technologies where we make locally and sell globally. And in India, it's in our culture to recycle. Our moms are the biggest recyclers, and I think we need to start embracing that and start going back to our roots, because waste does not exist in nature. It is us who have created it, so it's our responsibility to get rid of it, but sustainably.
Very well said. Waste does not exist in nature. And really, you see documentaries like Seaspiracy, and you think about what we're doing as a race to the oceans, how we're destroying oceans and ocean life, and we talk about an ocean of plastic in the ocean and an island of plastic in the Pacific. Your thoughts about marine life and what we can do to protect it on Earth Day.
I uh, I have been quite the Seaspiracy, as you mentioned. It's been a quite shocking documentary. Post that, we started working with fishing nets. So right after the moment I saw it, I told my team that we need to start working on that. And I believe we can definitely get rid of the waste, but it's just that we need to first stop using a lot of materials that create waste. So that is one aspect as us consumers. The second is just cleaning up the beaches won't help. We need to find sustainable technologies to recycle that waste as well. Because what's happening is this: we are basically relocating the waste, we are cleaning up the beaches, but then eventually it's ending up in the landfills, and then again that vicious cycle of it ending up in the oceans is happening. So we need to stop relocating. We need to start finding, I think we all as youth as well need to start finding solutions, encourage solutions that are out there, and at the same time also create an entire cycle of circular economy.
Binish, I know that landfills deeply disturb you. You come here and you go to the Chembur area, you go to our landfills where the city is dumping its waste. These are landfills of waste which are, taller than 10, 12-story apartment buildings. And often we hear of fires breaking out, and the populace in the adjoining areas being affected. There are lung diseases. Your thoughts on landfills and how we can possibly eradicate them, especially from urban metropolises like Mumbai City.
Landfills, I see them as, for me, they are like a way of natural resource, but environmentally, they are one of the most harmful spaces to be. The moment if someone has walked into the landfill, they will realize how dangerous the situations are, maybe in terms of the air quality or the overall materials that are lying there. So it's quite a disturbing space, and you realize when you are standing there, you may see it from far, you will see it as a mountain, but then the nearer you go, you realize how tall it is, and that's how much we as humans are producing it. So that creates an eco anxiety in me, and we have started developing solutions. So we make my company makes more than 150 products that's generated out of those 100 different types of waste, both industrial and domestic waste, that eventually end up in the landfills. So we are trying to repurpose it, we are trying to recycle it. Most of it is also getting upcycled as well. We are trying to create awareness, we're trying to give out technologies. And the best way to do it is what we are now doing is we do not have it just in Gujarat. We have decentralized the process. So you may be sitting in Bangalore or Kolkata or even in United States, you can still adopt this technology as it's a decentralized process, and you can start getting rid of the landfills. At the same time, it's also about economic generation, that the products that we are generating out of what was completely useless before and in the landfills, um, into products that can be used to give a better home to someone in need, or creating schools or spaces as such that can help create a difference and social impact in the society.
You believe a lot in social impact, your actions in particular, and how they should have a particular social purpose to uplift lives. Is that why you formed Eco Eclectic Technology? You want to talk to me about Eco Eclectic Technology, Binish?
Yeah. So I founded Eco Eclectic Technologies on the basis of what we call as what I consider as sustainability is uh, a balance of three things, which is environmental impact, social impact, and also economic viability. It's very important for us to have a balance of these three. For me, social impact has been the core reason why I started all this. Is I wanted to create world's cheapest house and redefine slums. Now with new ventures such as so we have ventured out eco-eclectic technologies. One of the part is also called dosh. Dosh actually means it's an updated version of French word waste, which means waste. So I'm trying to redefine waste by creating these products. And what we do is any type of product we consider it as an asset, and we convert it into eco-economical and social innovation that not just is commercially viable to do it, but it also creates a social impact in the society. We are empowering women. For example, our latest version is where we are creating crockeries out of waste, and this is actually happening in a center that we created in Bhiwandi in Mumbai, in the outskirts of Mumbai, where all the past sex workers are now are women working in this center to create all these products. So they are kind of women entrepreneurs now, whom we consider as artists, who are creating all these handmade products and corporate gifts coming out of these centers. So that's one of my very close projects to my heart, and that's what we believe in.
You mentioned Bengaluru very briefly in your conversation a couple of minutes ago. Bengaluru seems to be the pioneer in composting, whereby people are taking their domestic waste in the house, segregating it, and then composting it. Unfortunately, we would have imagined that Mumbai would take to it like fish to water, but it hasn't really. Composting hasn't really gone into every level of Mumbai society. Your thoughts on composting and how we can make it more popular, Binish?
I think to make it more popular, the best thing would be awareness. Although a lot of people are aware, but in Mumbai, it's a very fast city, so people are choosing. Time is money here in Mumbai. So a lot of people think, oh, okay, it's not our duty, right, to compose it. If someone else is gonna do it, we'll do it. We'll support it. We'll donate. A lot of people do that, but that's donation is not what all is required in this particular thing. It's yourself who has to get involved, your own waste. So you should be responsible for your own waste, and I think probably maybe in some way incentivization or regulation, either of the two can help promote it more on a larger scale. And I think just the right awareness will help, or the right way to put it will help a lot of people get into composting. Maybe societies can join hands and create a collective composting space where the enthusiasts of that particular building can ensure that it's been done the right way. So I think that is pretty much I can comment, because of how it's all depend on the consumer behavior. So I think that needs to change, and that will help promote all these products.
True that. An international publication did an article on you saying Dr. Binish Desai, the recycling man of India, who built a house for $380. What's the house that you built for $380? Tell us.
So that's been my dream. As I said, when I was 11 years old, I had this created this brick. But then when I learned about the word slums, I decided that I want to make world's cheapest house and redefine slums. And that had been my dream ever since then. Then at the age of 16, I started making these bricks. I founded my company, which was previously called B-Trim Bricks, and that's where my journey started. And I created this prototype house of 210 square feet. That's I think probably even today is the still size of the Awas Yojanas that go on. But it was like a perfect micro compact house for a family to live in. And I was able to make it at around 27,000 rupees.
That really is wonderful. There are a few good men and women like Afro Shah, yourself, who are enduring to create a cleaner, more sustainable planet. And really, if you look at Mumbai's problems in particular, because that's the city where I live in, the Methi River is, completely polluted. There are good Samaritans who are trying to clean up. The BMC also invested in some equipment to try and pull out the plastic from the Methi River, which ultimately, of course, flows into the ocean. But the idea is to involve the communities that live around the Methi River. One is to turn around and say, I mean, what can we do? We should find them, warn them. They're the ones who are polluting the river. And this is irrespective of what class or economic income group that they come from. We all know that is not the basis of why people pollute. People pollute irrespective of what economic background they're from, because of the pollution in their mind, and that must be tackled with education. What can we do to clean our urban rivers, our urban lakes, which have societies, living, acting, throbbing societies living around them?
I think the answer would be, as I said earlier as well, awareness. But if that's not working, then probably, regulating and ensuring that all the stakeholders of that area are made responsible of the the pollution that is created in their area. Once that starts happening, uh, once it becomes that there is no other choice but doing this, the people who are not following it will have to mandatorily follow and ensure that that's being clean. So probably regulating and fines, or probably, and not just fines. I always do not believe the negativity works, but also incentivizing those who do it. Those who get you know are doing a lot will get incentivized, and that can motivate a lot of people to get into it. And if they are not, then the regulation body should make them responsible for it. For example, I always believe that this is something that I have seen a lot of things, that during festivities we create a lot of waste that is being generated. But if we go to see our history, our religious beliefs, there is no waste there. There is, we are very much believers, or whoever we worship, our stories, everything has something to do with recycling towards reuse, rebirth, repurposing. So I think, but then still yet we are creating all this waste. So why not, after we are done with our festivals, we make it a part of the ceremony itself, that cleaning is a part of the entire journey. So I always feel that there is still innovative ways we can put into the minds of the people. But it has to come from the stakeholders, the majority stakeholders, which is the consumers. And they can probably just get either motivated or be forced to do it. So that just depends on how the people respond in that area.
One of the things I love about your social media feed is that you put up these interesting pictures of whenever you come by simple, eco innovative products that are made out of waste. For example, you put up a picture of somebody who made a clock out of waste. Also, some children who created truck toys. And this is fascinating. You visiting your site, and then you came upon this. Tell us about it. I'll leave you to complete the story.
Yes. So Jugaad is in our culture, right? As I said earlier, also Indians are very popular with innovations, with creating something out of waste. So while traveling to one of my sites in the Dang, since it's a tribal area, it's a forest reserve as well. What I came across, I was connecting with the villagers that I love doing that, and I noticed this kids, running around with this truck toy, and I stopped one of them, and when I looked at it, I was fascinated. They do not have any access to, they don't even have the place where I was. The village didn't have TVs or didn't have a connection as such, but still. So I asked them. My grandfather taught my father, and they taught us, and they had created this. If you see the photograph, you'll realize it better. It is like a truck from the twigs that the bamboo twigs that they had found, and they had used the bottle caps as the tire, and they had created like an actual tire piece, and they had cut it and stuck it around and created their own toys. And that just it doesn't matter how educated you are, even if you hold 4 5 PhDs, or you hold a master's degree, or you are completely not gone to school ever. These kids are hardly fifth or sixth grade students, and they yet created this beautiful toy. And this inspires me to keep creating something. These are all grassroots innovations. So we always get inspired, and that motivates me more towards also educating. So then right after that photograph, I actually sat down, I took out some of my products and showed them, like, why don't you try making your toys out of this? And
Nice.
to my surprise, they actually did it. And two of the girls had actually even made an entire chula out of this material, and that just gives me joy, and that's something that is very special.
We know you started your journey at the tender age of 10, and since then on, you've gone on from strength to strength. Even the great Mr. Amitabh Bachchan has noted your contribution towards construction of toilets and really being inspiring towards the Swachh India campaign. Talk to me about your vision for toilets and your ideas as far as public toilets are concerned, Binish.
Uh, Toilets have been a very basic necessity. There have been a lot of taboos involved with it. One of the reasons why Indian rural were not adopting to this. The other was also the infrastructures deeply built, and the flaws that were gone in the single system. So what we did was is we started creating customized systems. So what works for Mumbai does not necessarily work for Valsad, may not work also for a small village in Valsad. So when I started creating the toilets, I started realizing every village or every area has a different requirement, and I see customization as being one of the key fundamentals that is required in the sanitation industry for creating public toilets specifically towards the rural India. And that's where also innovative ideas, talking to the public of how they perceive a toilet to be. For example, I'll give you a story. What happened to me was this: while I was constructing a toilet, one person came to me and he started shouting on like, "Sir, आप इधर ये नीचे टाइल्स मत लगाए, घास लगाए." So I asked him, why are you, what are you saying? Why do you want a grass on the flooring? He said, जब तक पिछवाड़े पे लगती नहीं तब तक मुझे होती नहीं है. So this is the mindset you have. So I
Yeah.
said, yeah, you have to and that just struck me as like, okay. So then when I moved to the next village, I faced a similar problem, where what's happening, when I asked them, there were few toilets that were already constructed. So I asked them, why were they not being used? So they just told me, how about you take a glass of water and see what happens to the water after you pour it into the drain, into the commode. So it was getting chalked up. The reason was this: that area was actually eating a lot of fibrous food, hence their fecal waste was very fibrous and long. But the p trap, the general p trap, was not able to flush it properly because they do not have the flushing systems. It's just a basic, they will drain water, and that was creating chalk ups in the p trap. So that would clog up the toilet, and that made people not stop using it, saying, okay, this is a big headache for us, we don't want to do this. So that didn't change their mindset. So what we did was this: we took up a 4-inch PVC pipe and put it between the P trap and the commode. That increased the length of the system, and thus it was easier, and the gravity did its work, and that's how the flow of the waste was happening there. And that kind of, just a small piece of pipe could change a mindset of these the people there, and they started using them. So I always see there are small changes. You don't need to create a huge things. Just listen to them, what they want, what are they looking at, and that's exactly what I see innovations as in India. It's all about, people do have the idea. It's just that you need to not just listen, because they are the end users. If you have their participation, they'll feel involved, and that will help you solve the problem faster.
Binish, there is a book that has been written about you, your life thus far. You want to tell everybody who's listening, watching about that book and what they can learn from it?
Yes, so there's a book that's written on my life and works by Dr. Nikhil Chandwani. He's a young author. And the book talks about my journey from a 10-year-old to becoming the recycle man. And the book is in two parts. The first half talks about the journey. There are a couple of chapters that also speaks about how we can live a waste, how we can convert waste into eco innovations, how what are the products that we work on, what is the vision, and how we can move towards a zero waste life. So that's the part of the book, and that and I think everyone should read, especially for the kids, the young. I have ensured that the book is written in the way that a small kid can also understand it, and it's available on Amazon if anyone wants to read it.
That's lovely. He is very active on Instagram. It's Binish Desai, Binishdesai. Is there also a website, or are you on Twitter or Facebook? Any other coordinates that you'd like to give out, please?
Yeah, so we also have a website called www.binishdesai.com, and you can reach out to me there as well. Mostly I'm active on Instagram, so anyone having questions, please reach out to me. We'll be happy to answer.
Wonderful. Binish, thanks for your time and your patience, and wishing you a happy Earth Day again. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much.